The eagerly anticipated AMD RX 7900 XT is now available, and considering its pricing, many gamers now have to make a choice between this card and Nvidia's RTX 4080. While both are among the top graphics cards you can purchase, one is unquestionably superior for the majority of people. It all just comes down to what exactly you are looking for, the best gaming performance possible, or the best value for your money. So, hold that thought as we examine these amazing cards side by side in terms of specifications, performance, and more. On paper, it's unclear from the specifications which card is the better one. Although AMD's card boasts larger RAM and higher bandwidth, the 4080 has nearly twice as many graphics processing cores, with 9,728 cores, compared to the 5,376 cores that the 7900 comes with. The same is true of the architecture, with the 4080 relying on Ada Lovelace, while the Radeon RX 7900 is based on the RDNA 3, which boasts a 54% performance increase ahead of RDNA 2. When it comes to ray tracing, both cards deliver in this regard to some extent. Even though there have been some significant generational advancements in this field, AMD is sadly still falling behind Nvidia's GPU market dominance. The 7900's second generation ray accelerators are a significant improvement over AMD's first generation model. But there's still no match for the ray tracing powers of the 4080, and this is primarily because Nvidia's version has had a way longer time to develop and effectively utilizes computations aided by artificial intelligence. The 7900 also comes with AMD Adrenalin software instead of Nvidia GeForce Experience. Additionally, the RTX 4080 supports DLSS 3, but the 7900 continues to rely on FSR 2. However, DLSS consistently outperforms FSR, and its most recent version, DLSS 3, even incorporates AI-generated frames for breathtaking performance, especially at higher resolutions. Nevertheless, with all the powerful capabilities of these cards activated and paired with DLSS, you can play games way more fluidly on both GPUs. And while AMD offers technology that are comparable to those of Nvidia, there's no doubt that it is still catching up, as evidenced by the performance result we will be examining in just a minute. When it comes to power consumption, the 4080 is the more power hungry of the two cards. It has a thermal design power of 320 watts, while the 7900 has a TDP of 300 watts. This means that the RTX 4080 requires more power to run and generates more heat, which could be a concern for some users. Also, the two 8-pin connectors in the 7900 are more than adequate, considering that you can use it with a 750 watt recommended system power. This is definitely an advantage, since you don't want to have to upgrade your PSU if you're using an older one. It is likewise interesting to note that the 4080 supplies almost the same amount of power with a total of 3 8-pin connectors that readily fit into the card's single 16-pin connector with the aid of an adapter. Another thing we can't help but notice is the significant size difference between these cards. Thank goodness AMD didn't make their new GPUs absurdly large like Nvidia did. The Radeon 7900 has a standard 2-slot design and is 287mm in length, which is significantly less than the rival 4080. AMD's cards could easily fit in most mid-sized PC cases, and let's just hope that third-party designs from other makers will maintain this sizing. If you guys need ideas on the best mid-tower PC gaming cases that you can get your hands on, then definitely check out our previous video here. Moving on, pricing has always been an obvious distinction between Nvidia and AMD. While Nvidia continues to be regarded as being slightly off in pricing, but obvious in its performance advantage, the latter is known for offering considerably better prices for highly powerful GPUs. Getting hands-on, the 7900 still lies between being difficult and easy, since it was only just released in December 2022. This GPU launched at an extremely low price of just $899, which could further boost its supply. The 4080 from Nvidia, on the other hand, which has been available for some months now, still currently retails at $1,200 at a number of shops. Although the two GPUs perform very similarly, the 4080 outperforms the other practically in every scenario. And when comparing performance per dollar to the 4080, the 7900 definitely delivers greater value, especially if you can't afford the extra $100 you'd have to shell out to get the 7900 that's a better rival to the performance of the 4080. It's 2023, and it's no surprise that technology has made incredible advancements. GPU makers are now better at handling the extremely high demands of video games using ray tracing, 4K gaming, and 3-digit frames per second, whilst giving us performance we could never have dreamed of. Now, let's face it, when it comes to rasterization capabilities and 4K gaming, the 4080 performs noticeably better than the 7900. For example, in the game Cyberpunk 2077 at 4K, the 4080 has an average frame rate of 77 FPS, whilst the 7900 XT has an average frame rate of 64 FPS. In Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 4K, the 4080 has an average frame rate of 135 FPS, whilst the 7900 has an average frame rate of 107 FPS. However, the 7900 does have some advantages in certain games, such as better performance in games that use the DirectX 12 API. Take, for instance, difference in performance was just about 3 FPS in Far Cry 6, before skyrocketing to around a 40% performance gap in the Callisto protocol. So generally, in rasterized gaming workloads, the 4080 sure does give a 15 to 20% better efficiency than AMD's GPU. Coming down to ray trace gaming, and we still see the 7900 lagging behind, as enabling ray tracing only increases the performance difference between both cards even further. In games that depend heavily on this feature, such as Ghostwire, Dying Light 2, and Cyberpunk, we see the 4080 outperforming the 7900 by an amazing 20%, 50%, and 60% respectively. In fact, the 4080 beats the 7900 hands down by a margin of 40 to 50% in games like F1 2022, Metro Exodus, Hitman 3, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And once again, the Callisto protocol is the only game where the 7900 manages a win. With roughly the same loads, it outperforms the RTX 4080 by a very small margin. Also, for 1440p ray trace performance, the Callisto protocol is still the only game where the Navi 31 SKU from AMD registers a victory, alongside Far Cry 6 and F1 2022. Most games such as Metro Exodus, Hitman 3, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, etc., as you must have guessed, highly favoured the 4080 when ray tracing is enabled for 1440p gaming. But with ray tracing turned off at 1440p, the 7900 XT performs better, closely trailing the 4080 in performance in Hitman 3, Far Cry 6, F1 2022 and Cyberpunk. However, the 4080 with the Ada heavyweight still maintained a heavy lead in the Callisto protocol, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and A Plague Tale: Requiem. It's important to note that these benchmarks are based on specific testing scenarios and specific games, so results may vary depending on the game and settings used. But overall, the 4080 has a slight edge in overall performance. It's estimated that the 4080 is 23% quicker than the 7900 on average, based on most benchmarking data. Also, with the 7900, you actually receive more performance for your money compared to the 28% price difference. In conclusion, both the 7900 XT and the RTX 4080 are incredibly powerful graphics cards that are designed for high-end gaming and other demanding tasks. The RTX 4080 has the edge in performance, but the RX 7900 XT is a bit more power efficient and has a slightly smaller form factor. Ultimately, the choice between these two cards will come down to your personal needs and preferences. If you're looking for the best performance, go with the 4080, but if you're looking for a more power efficient option, the 7900 XT may be the better choice. What do you think of these two high-end graphics cards? Which do you find yourself buying anytime soon? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And with that, we've come to the end of our video for today. Thanks for watching. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel down below. I always upload educational content and want you to be a part of the family, so why not join? Hope you guys have a good one.